Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Today I'm going to talk about how to winterize your equipment. Now, you guys up north that have already had snow, you're going to be yelling at me, it's too late up here, man. You're too late. But for those of us across the Midwest and in the South, now's a great time of year to be winterizing your equipment. And I'm going to talk today about how to get your sprayer, your PTO-powered equipment, and your tractor ready for winter. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to talk about today is a sprayer. There's probably not another piece of equipment that needs winterizing more than your sprayer. If you leave chemical in that thing over the winter, it could freeze, it could gum up your nozzles and make a mess. If you've got liquid in your pump, it could freeze and crack that pump, and pumps are expensive. I can tell you, you don't want to have to buy one. So we're going to winterize this sprayer today. First thing we're going to do, if there's any residual spray left in the tank, we're going to spray that out. You don't want to save that over the winter. Once it's mixed with water, you'll have a mess if you keep it over the winter. So we're going to spray that out in the field where it won't hurt anything. Next thing we're going to do is open up all the valves and let any remaining chemical drain out. The next thing I'm going to do is find a fresh water supply and a hose and a nozzle, and I'm going to wash that sprayer off, both inside and outside. A lot of times you'll find out after you've drained your chemical out of the sprayer, there'll be a little residual chemical in the bottom, maybe a quart or so. Wash that out till that's clean, and you may find some mildew or something in your tank, and wash that out too. And that'll make a sprayer nice and clean for spring. And then I like to wash the outside of it out too. In case there's any chemical residue on it and the kids playing around it, you don't want them into that. So clean that thing up good, wash it out. The problem with most sprayers is you do that near a water source that's going to be in your yard, and most of us don't want that chemical smell in our yard. So what I like about the Land Champ sprayer, which I sell on my website, it's got its own self-contained fresh water system. So you fill that up, go out to the field, close off your regular tank, and then spray out a little bit of water from the gun till it's clean water, and then you've got clean water in there to wash your tank off, self-contained in the tank. It's a really nice feature on the tank. That's on the Enduraplast Land Champ sprayer. So one way or another, I'm going to clean my tank inside and out. Next thing we're going to do is close up all the valves on the sprayer just like we were ready to use it. Now you'll need some of this, RV and marine antifreeze. Don't use engine antifreeze. Use RV antifreeze. It's safe for the environment. So we're going to dump some of that in the tank. And I've got a 100-gallon sprayer. I'm going to dump a gallon of RV antifreeze in there. Because RV antifreeze is pink, we're going to open our nozzles up and spray until we see pink water come out. And then I'm going to take my spray wand and spray with it until I see pink water come out. And now my sprayer is ready for winter. It's got antifreeze throughout it. Another thing I like to do at the end of this process is open up my filter, take it apart, clean it, and leave it open for the winter. Finally today, I'm going to say a couple more things about sprayers and then we'll move on. Number one, I'm actually going to take my pump off and put it in my garage over the winter. My garage never gets below freezing because it's attached to the house, and I just feel better about that pump being in there. Pumps are expensive. You don't want to replace one, and if they crack and break, you'll have to buy a new one, and you don't want that. Now the next thing I'm going to say, if you've got spray material, chemical of some kind, stored in an outbuilding like my barn here, you might want to check the label on that and see if a hard freeze is going to hurt it. Certain chemicals can be rendered useless by a hard freeze, so you want to keep them somewhere where it's not going to get that cold. Last thing I want to say about sprayers. If you're thinking you're going to buy a sprayer next spring, buy it now. Two reasons. Prices are going up. They're never going to get any cheaper. And number two, if you order it now, you'll get it and have it when you need it. Sprayers are extremely frustrating to anybody that sells farm equipment because, 60% of your people come in like a 90-day period wanting sprayers. And when everybody wants sprayers at the same time, it's hard to deliver. So if you're going to buy a sprayer, I don't care who you buy it from, get it now while you can, and you'll have that in the barn ready to go next spring. Please, on behalf of every farm equipment dealer in the world. Well, let's talk today about getting your tractor ready for winter. And there's a couple things you need to do there. You need to concentrate on your fuel and your radiator antifreeze. Let's talk about the radiator antifreeze first. Most of you have used one of these devices. Check your antifreeze to make sure you've got enough in there to keep the tractor from freezing and cracking a block over the winter. We sure don't want that. Now, the first thing I want to do with my fuel is fill up the tank. Now, this goes totally against what most of us think. A lot of us think that you want to drain your fuel down to the bottom so you don't have that much old fuel in there when you start up next spring. But the problem with that is that leaves a big open area for water to condense, and it makes a very conducive place for slime to grow in the bottom of your diesel tank. And again, I'll link to a video at the end where I talk about that. So I'm going to fill the fuel tank up to almost to the top, and that leaves a very small area for water to condense and slime to form. And then I'm going to dump an anti-gelling product in there, so when it gets really, really cold, and a lot of years it doesn't here, but if it does, it won't gel up. When it gets below 10 degrees, diesel can turn into a gel. It's almost like applesauce. Once that happens, your engine will die and you won't start it till it's warmed up. And it's better to prevent it than to try to cure it once it's happened. Now finally today, a little tip for those of you that have a lot of PTO-powered implements that are going to be stored outside. And this is a tip that came from one of my viewers years ago, and I think it's a great idea. If you have a lot of PTO-powered implements, most of those PTO shafts are held on with one bolt. Take that one bolt out and take that PTO shaft and put it in your garage. And I'd go one step further, open it up almost till the two pieces come apart, spray a bunch of WD-40 in there and push it back together. Put it in your garage where it won't draw moisture over the winter, and it'll make your life a lot easier next spring when you're ready to brush hog. One of the problems with machines stored outside is if you get a little surface rust on the PTO shaft inside with condensation, it may just weld that thing together, and when you go to hook it up to your tractor, you won't be able to pull it out. It's a big problem. I can tell you every spring I get lots and lots of viewer mail from people that can't get their PTO shaft to extend. And if that thing's in the garage with some WD-40 sprayed in it, you won't have that problem. Last thing I'm going to do if I'm storing my brush hog outside is put a 5-gallon pail over the gearbox. I don't know that really does much. I just don't like the thought of a gearbox sitting out in the rain and the snow. And I'm going to put a rock on top of it so it's there next year when I come to put it back together. Finally today, if you've got a power washer, start that thing up and spray all the water out of it. You don't want to lose a pump in a power washer over the winter. If you'll do those things, your life will be a lot less stressful next spring, and you can get out and go to work when you need to. So get that stuff winterized now while the weather's not too bad. Appreciate you watching my videos. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd be honored. Just click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with unique items for sale for the tractor owner that helps support my channel. And here's a video about diesel quality. You might want to watch that. Thanks for watching.